Hello, welcome back to another stream from Tachyon Lance. Today we're going to be having a look at the updated Frigate, which was released yesterday with the updated beta patch for 3.6. So we'll have a look at that design to see what improvements they've made. Now, the improvement they added was adding this extra utility slot here. So you can add either an extra small shields or armor. For this ship design, I've added some extra shields because we did have a bit extra power. I've reduced the hyperdrive down level 1 to save a little bit of power. I dropped the sensors down 1 level so that I can actually fit in these shields, and also I've increased the afterburners so that we can increase our evasion and get into combat range faster. So hopefully that reduces the amount of ships we lose before we get into combat. So yesterday I had some comments about why I didn't use swarm tactics for my computers for the frigates, and there's a very good reason for that. When you look at the combat computers, there are no swarm computers for frigates. So the only two options you have are torpedoes and artillery, which makes perfect sense because torpedoes, you want to close in quickly, get advantage of the explosive weapon damage evasion from your standard torpedo types. The artillery is perfect for your energy based weapons so that you're making use of that extreme range at 120 and firing it off and getting advantage from that. Plus you're still getting a multiplicative damage of 100% for the ship size. So for battleships it should be 500% if my maths is correct, could be wrong. Then the larger the ship, the higher the damage for the torpedoes. So that's the reason why you don't see swarm tactics, because there is no swarm tactics for frigates. For corvettes, yes, you do have swarm tactics. So just be aware of that when you're playing the game. There are certain types of computers that are only available to certain types of ships. So for my energy-based corvette, I have put extra armor slot on because the energy torpedoes do use a lot of power, and we are restricted with the amount of power that we have for the frigates. I couldn't afford to put increased shields on here without compromising the afterburners. I put extra afterburners on here once again to get in closer range, and we've got the reducer sensors and the hyperdrive for this test to try to maximize our power output. It does have the artillery computers on, so we can maximize the range of our torpedoes and our missiles. So we'll see how these tests go. So what we've got here, first up, we're testing out the energy frigates to see how the extra utility slot goes, and with the extra engines, just to see if we can do a little bit better than yesterday. So this is the same battleships, same battleship design. I could probably actually put extra shields on the battleship if I wanted to. Let's have a look. Can I afford? Yeah, I could easily afford level 5 shields. So these battleships are not as strong as they could be. So, but I think they're probably going to be too strong for the frigates in this case, 60 frigates. But I could be wrong. We'll see how this new change that Paradox brought into the utility slot adds to the effectiveness of frigates.
Alert. Science unit engaged.
Let's see how this goes.
Hostile fleet assets engaged.
So the battleships are opening up the first volley. I just want to see how much damage they actually did. So total damage to hull, 7,289 already. Giga cannon, so it's a giga cannon doing the damage there. Damage to armor, 86% efficient, 21,000. So we've got neutron launchers. Neutron launchers, giga cannons. So the giga cannons are doing the damage there. Let's see. Oh, the frigates are doing better this time. They've lost 2 battleships. 3. 6. Oh, this is a lot closer than I thought it would be. So down to nearly 50% now. They're down to 50%.
Alert. Construction unit offline.
Okay, the battleships are jumping away. Oh, we're down to one battleship.
Science unit offline.
Three battleships. Two. The frigates won the day. Wow, what a turnaround that was. Yesterday, when you watched my video, with nearly the same design, 60 frigates got absolutely wasted by the battleships. And the only changes were... where is it? The frigates. So with this design, the only changes have been to add that extra armor slot, because that's what they've added in. I added a little bit more speed in evasion, and just dropped the power on these. That's it. So we lost a little bit here with targeting and tracking. So yeah, that was surprising. So to add an extra 290 armor, if we take that off, that's what it was yesterday. So adding in that armor added 290 per frigate. And I guess when you have 60, adds up. Adding in an extra 5% evasion. So maybe that helped. What's our evasion up to 38%? That would have helped a little bit. Yeah, so that was a very interesting result. Complete turnaround from yesterday. So Paradox obviously tested this out, and this makes it far more even for the frigates. Gives them a bit more, I guess, staying power for the fight. So yeah, that was very, very, very interesting. All right, I'm going to test the next frigate design in just a second. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so for this test, we've got 10 battleships, 60 frigates again. This time we've got the battleships with... I've updated the shields. I made them level 5. For some strange reason in this patch, yeah, do auto build that does level 3 shields for some reason. Just crazy. So I made sure they're level 5, so we've got a bit more shields. We will see how these type of frigates go with these Devastator torpedoes, and these frigates have the extra shields because they had a bit more power. So we'll see how that goes versus the armor. They've also got a bit faster engines. Once again, lower sensors. So let's go and see how this combat works. This also has the, if you didn't notice, the other computers, torpedo computers, to close in to the torpedo range and do that extra damage.
Alert. Station engaged.
Okay, let's just have a look at the damage dealt. Yeah, once again, Giga Cannons. Giga Cannons. Yeah, the Giga Cannons are doing a lot of the damage there, which I guess you'd expect. Now we come in, let's see what the first wave of the Devastator torpedoes does. Oh, we didn't knock down one battleship then. Let's have a look. Nothing through to the hull yet. So the missiles have got through to armor. What happened to those torpedoes? Did they not hit? The battleships are just running around trying to keep range. I like how that works. So they're trying to keep range. So there's obviously a clear win for the battleships here.
Alert. Fleet unit offline.
They lost one battleship. And yesterday it was the Devastator torpedoes that came in and wrecked the battleships. Because one of the things in the patch is they actually updated the combat computers that actually work, because they weren't really working that well. So these guys are trying to close range with the battleships to launch their torpedoes. But the battleships, as you just saw, are trying to keep range and artillery. And as those frigates advanced, the battleships retreated, trying to keep at their range for their artillery. So that was really good to see that. I haven't seen that often where the ships I can't actually recall, where they're backing away from the fight to get range on them rather than just charging in and getting in the gun range as we tend to see. I saw it in the last few days playing in a few games I've got going at the moment where the fleet's just charged in regardless, including the battleships. So that's really good that they're staying at range now. Okay, very interesting. So what I'll do is I'm going to rerun that first test, because now I've got the battleships with the extra shields, and just to see if that made all the difference or if we get a similar result. Okay, so now we've got our energy frigates back again, and we've got our battleships with full level shields. Let's just see if this makes any difference at all. Probably will, but significantly more shields. The battleships retreating again, trying to keep the range. But in this case, their frigates should still be able to keep firing because they've got their artillery range.
Alert. Mining station deconstructed.
Yeah, see the battleships are doing better this time. They're still taking a lot of losses. Lost a lot of their fleet power. Frigates are down to half. The battleship way over here. Oh, he just retreated. He's dead. They're dead. Down to 10k. So even though the fleet power difference is a lot more of them than the battleships. So they're just getting whittled away. Well, the frigates this time actually did better with the battleships having increased shields. So it just must be that a few more hits got through, better targeting or something that time. So similar results, it didn't matter the battleships having increased shields. So I'm going to run the last battle of the Devastator frigates again, because in the very first volley, those Devastator torpedoes seemed to miss. They all went to one target and they seemed to miss. So I just want to rerun that in case I've seen that differently or something weird happened. Okay, so now we've got our Devastator frigates, as you can see here, and the battleships with their full shields, full weapons. Let's see how this goes. I want to see how that first volley does from the Devastator torpedoes, because it didn't seem to do any damage the first go. Let's just watch this. Let's put it on really slow. I just want to see here what actually happens. The battleships are firing like crazy. Here come the missiles. Okay, let's see what the damage is. So I wonder what's happening. Huh. I think what's happening is the frigates are not getting into range to fire their Devastator torpedoes. The battleships are backing off out of range, so the frigates can't close fast enough. What's the speed? The battleship speed 178, so the frigate should be faster. 234. Okay, I wonder if having missiles on the Devastator frigates is confusing their targeting, so they're not closing close enough to the battleships. I think that could be it. See, they're trying to get in the range. The battleships keep backing away. Here we go. Looks like we got torpedoes going in now. Yeah, now let's look at some of the damage. Yeah, see, now the Devastator torpedoes are in. They go straight to the top of the damage, even though they've only just started to enter the fight. Yeah, look at that. So I think the corvettes are going to win now. Frigates are going to win. Yeah, they're chasing him down. There we go. So these guys won quite convincingly. Oh no, there's still one left. I don't think he's going to last long. It's good how the battleships just run away. I quite like that. So the computers are working. That's good. So that was a solid victory to the frigates that time. This time they seem to keep advancing and try to close the distance. The other one, they didn't really try to get close in the range. I'm going to change the design. We're going to change the missiles. Okay, so now we have the frigates with the autocannon so that we can encourage them to get into range, and hopefully these can pep away at the shields and do a bit of hull damage. But I mainly want to try and get them to get into range so these Devastator torpedoes can get into the fight earlier, and we will see how effective it is. I did drop the shields a little bit in order to fit the autocannon in because it's a bit more power usage. So let's see what happens. Let's see if the frigates keep advancing rather than trying to stay at range. Oh, they lost 10 straight away. That was a good volley from the battleships. Battleships retreating. Frigates are still charging. They're still charging. Yeah, this is better. Still trying to get into range. They've lost 20, a third of their fleet. They've lost nearly half. Here we go. Now they're firing finally, but they've lost too many. Yeah, they've just lost too many. They're chasing one battleship over there. Yep, so that didn't work. That did not work at all. So it seems that the combination of the torps and missiles worked far better. Far better. So I guess the conclusion to this with the ship design is the autocannons are not very effective. You want, if you're using Devastator torpedo short weapon, you want a long range weapon to help match it. The torpedo, the ship will charge straight at the enemies in strafing runs. Yeah, so it doesn't matter what weapon you put on, they should still be charging in. So yeah, that's very interesting. The frigate is now well, it seems to be more effective, seems to last longer in the fights, but probably surprisingly the biggest change is the combat computers. Every battle we saw the battleships retreating, trying to stay at range from that fleet, and we could even make that more effective if we put if you put on the battleships, instead of putting this, put on the afterburners. Let's increase the battleship speed to 215. We're only slightly slower than a frigate. Frigate's 234, so they'll be able to keep their distance even better. That's increasing their speed a fair bit. So that seems to be the main lesson from this. Not that the frigate's got the extra utility slot or what type of weapon combination. It's the battle computers. They've fixed them, and the battleships are doing really well staying at artillery range. Any ship staying at artillery range should be doing that. So that'll be good to see in future tests what happens there. So I'll leave it there for today for you guys to make your own conclusions and comments. And if you like this video, hit that like button, and I'll see you next time.